So none of this is the part of the tour.
No, I know. We're just walking.
It's been outfitted as a true commercial kitchen. And then our main fellowship hall, which is about 700 square feet, that will be a room that's being repurposed to allow for community groups to have meetings at any given time for free. So the entire community come in, do HOA from the neighbor behind us. Commissioner Ben Kua lives around the corner, wants to do town hall meetings here. Any nonprofit, for-profit, or religious, faith-based organization wants to hold a meeting can hold it here for absolutely no cost. It's part of us creating that community asset approach to the facility. So we're going to walk outside and around that hall, and come back inside the facility to kind of give a tour. As you can see, separate entrance, separate doors, separate parking areas, so we can have our guests in our shelter and have them also have an event going on in the community space and have absolutely no interaction between the two. There's no common entrances. Everybody's got their own separate space, separate entrances.
Ooh, this floor is nice. I like this floor.
Thank you.
Bathroom?
I don't have that.
So this is the start of the shelter area. As you can see, we have these double doors here that are mag locks, so that will keep everybody safe and secure at all times between shelter and the fellowship area. To the right, as you look down the hallway, is actually the intake office for the facility. It's full of stuff right next to having stuff around 4 different areas. But that will be where the people who are here for the first time will actually go to begin the process. So you kind of get an idea of sort of what that looks like. This is the exact same kind of a room, just different kind of layout. And so it's a pretty simple room, but one of the things we really did with this was make sure that any room that has anything to do with services, mental health, anything like that, overlooks our courtyard. You may have seen it when you pulled up. That's a nice mud pit out front. One of our local landscape companies, Russell Landscape, is going to be coming out here in about a month or so to redo the entire courtyard to give us a nice look with a lot of flowers and colors and stuff to kind of bring people's attention down. To my right, some of yours left over here. This is our common area room. You can walk in there if you'd like. There's a little bit more space.
Spread out a bit.
So this is a dual purpose room. Kind of set up the way it's supposed to be. All of the guests who are here in the shelter will be eating on that end of the room with different geometric tables set up to both be brought together for communal eating, but also separated out for individual eating as well. And then we'll have a overnight lounge area set up over here, some couches and chairs, a television, a big screen TV on the wall, video game systems, Netflix, the whole 9 yards. And really the intent of this room is to allow for a more dignified approach to doing shelter programming. You know, every shelter has a lights out policy because you have to have lights out in those bedrooms, but everybody's on a smartphone. And if you don't need to get up super early the next morning and you're 30, 40 something year old adult, last time you had a bedtime was probably 20 years ago. And it's not really dignified to say you have to go to bed at 10 o'clock no matter what. And the first next to get up at 4 a.m. and you're watching a YouTube video until midnight may not go so well. So we thought, since we're staffed overnight, why not have a room that was open overnight to allow people to enjoy television and go to bed when they want to go to bed, especially if they don't know where to be first thing the next morning. So this is just a way to try to decrease anxiety and stress in the facility, and also make sure we're giving people the option to really be treated as adults in a dignified manner. This is our laundry room area. This will have 2 stockable washer dryer units in it that will allow us to do all of our sheets and towels I mentioned earlier, but also allow all the guests to do their laundry on a day in and day out basis as well. Specifically with that room being overnight, it allows us to really have them have a lot of options of when they can do laundry versus just between the hours of, say, 4 p.m. when they come in and 10 p.m. when lights go out. So this is a lot bigger time and gives them more availability to help them do that. This is our bathroom. All of our restrooms and stuff here are gender neutral. We will have adolescent boys up to the age of 18 as long as they're enrolled in school as part of the households. So it's 3 toilet stalls in here, ADA compliance and everything like that. And then our 3 sink vanities. It's a little outdated in design, but it actually works well for us because this allows us to have someone using the facilities and closing that door, and we can still use the sinks at the same time. If we had 20 people trying to get ready every morning and the whole bathroom was shut down as soon as someone went to the restroom, it would take us hours to get everybody out of this location. So we can't have that. So we're gonna go right back here. This is Freddie. He's our site superintendent with Gerard, who's our property contractor. He is amazing. He is the reason why this place looks the way it looks. But this is bedroom number 1. There you go. This bedroom is set up specifically for single women or women with older kids to kind of have a space that was kind of their own. So we'll have 6 twin-size beds set up along this wall and that wall with trunks in the base of each bed, personal storage. We'll have 2 computer units set up on here, 2 desktop computers with only filters being no pornography, no gambling. But this is really set up to give women who either have older children or have never had children the ability to have their own bedroom space away from those who may have younger children. We've seen that be a very big stressing point within shelter settings. In fact, I talked to Debbie at length about that when we were trying to design this facility. So it was really important for us to have that separated, dedicated bedroom to give them their own space so they can process and go through this and get out of the homelessness in a way that's most comfortable for them. If they want to be integrated with other families, we can certainly accommodate that, but I think it'll be a pretty popular space when all is said and done. And the punch door that everybody seems to want to ask about there, and every one of our bedrooms there are fire and life safety code piece. So that's why we've added them. And this will be carpet, which is why you'll see it for me. Yeah.
Some carpet choices here.
Matt, why did you guys decide carpet in the bedrooms?
Why?
Yeah.
Because the name Home First is about the embodiment of what we want to be. I've yet to see many bedrooms in a home that have vinyl flooring, so we want to put carpet in to make it feel like a home. The colors, everything we're doing is trying to make it look nothing like an institution, nothing like a hospital or a jail. It should look and feel like home when you're here. That's what people feel. This is bedroom number 2. We'll have 4 bunk bed units against this wall. You have 2 computer desks there. This is designed for really 2 families of moderate size to kind of live together. It's borrowed from Family Promise, where I used to be executive director, kind of allowing for people who are going through the same situation to have shared experiences and use each other for natural support systems. You may have, where your kid got in trouble at school or something happened at work, or you didn't get a job, and you don't want to go through a case management process or talk to a volunteer about it. It's just part of the process. But the person in this room with you may have gone through something similar, is in the same situation you are, and you can just talk to them and vent and get it out and build natural, organic support systems that you may not have otherwise. And we really are adamant about this because I've seen families that we've rehoused out of Family Promise that are now 2-3 years out of the process that are still relying on each other, still talking, still babysit for each other, go grocery for each other, and that natural support is how people are able to really remain out of that survival mindset and really remain thriving in life. And so this is kind of allowing that naturally built in up to 90-day stay. So,
Julie, I'm sorry. I just,
this is our shower room. Very similar setup to the bathroom. It's
Walk
got
in and look at
3
it.
shower stalls, 3 vanities set up. So ADA compliance. Not a lot of fun stuff with the shower, but it's a shower room.
Hot water, cold water.
Eventually, yeah.
A shelf to set your shampoo.
This is bedroom number 3. It'll be 3 bunk bed units on its own. That will get us to a total of 20 beds. All the beds are wood frame beds, nothing steel framed in here. Again, we want to get away from the institutionalized feel of it all. This will be set up for really one family of moderate to large size to kind of live semi-independently because they separate off from the other bedrooms. That will probably make it the most popular room, but we also have some partnerships with groups like Mosaic of Georgia, where if a woman's a victim of sexual assault and does not want to return home because she feels safe, she does qualify as homeless in definition. She can come here and stay for a couple of nights in a separated bedroom and feel in a more secure environment until she does return eventually home. So special services like that we can do that with as well. So last room of the shelter is right here.
Matt, are the bedroom doors, are they going to have locks on them?
No,
Okay.
no locks. No, they won't lock at all from the inside or outside. And they're only cameras we have in the facility. You can see a couple of them otherwise are only in the hallways and common rooms. They're not in any of the bedrooms or bathrooms. Okay. Last room of the shelter.
Starting the collection.
So this is our library. We were originally going to make this into a 4th bedroom and really go with a lot of small concepts, but talking to colleagues of mine who I've been known for a number of years, and they said that the one thing we're really focused on here is people going from survival mindset, worrying about tonight, tomorrow, next week, to thrival mindset, which is worrying about next month, next year, and the next generation, right? So I can put together all the data sets and fancy charts, and Farley and Debbie know how much I love data, but I can't mimic what this room will show us. And what I mean by that is this. When someone's willing to come into a library, take a book off the shelf to read it for pleasure, they are absolutely not worried about tonight, tomorrow, or next week. They're focused on their own recreation, their own self-care, and this is an anecdotal sign that someone is flipping that switch that our program is working. I can't mimic this in a nice graph, a Prezi, or a PowerPoint presentation. It can only be shown in settings like this. So this room, while it is great for volunteers and donations and books and stuff like that, it actually has a very big programmatic component of what we're doing. If this room is never being used by any of this facility, we have to, 1, hope that we have 2 people who just hate reading, which is hard to find. But 2, are we doing something wrong? Additionally, we call it a library, but the reality is that when you take a book off this shelf, you take it with you when you leave. whether you read one book while you're here or 10 books while you're here, they're all yours when you leave. They're all your possession. We can get donations of books all day long. If we ever run out, I will go garage sale myself on a Saturday and buy boxes for a nickel. So I'm very adamant when I said earlier that no one leaves us with something in their possession. This is part of that process. So when you guys come back in March when we're opening up, this thing will be filled from end to end with books of all styles, types, genres, kids, adults, English, Spanish, what have you. I mean, we want it packed to the gills, and we want to have plenty on reserve as well. So this is a really important part of our process.
Are you going to have them organized, kind of library style? You know, fiction, nonfiction, English, Spanish, whatever.
We're gonna try and order as best we can.
English, Spanish.
People say like, they like mystery. We're gonna say, well, mystery's kind of in this area. We're not gonna do like a Dewey Decimal System, stuff to that extent. But we're gonna try and organize the best we can, depending on what we have in stock, and that will give us an idea of saying, instead of saying we need more books, we need more mystery or romance novels, or we somehow ran out of Daniel Steele, which we probably had 2 shelves full of that stuff for John Grisham. Well, we can identify what's popular, what's not, and track it some way. But we're not gonna go to the extent of like, inventory through an Excel and like have it actually check in, check out. We don't want that form, but yes, we will have some organization.
What's your step?
Oh. A little room.
Alright, so I mentioned before shelter, assessment, and community-based services, right? This is the start of the community-based services. Good Samaritan Health Center of Gwinnett will be here once a week to start, going twice, and they will be in this room as the clinic. This is used for basic diagnostic, primary care approach. Guest comes in and say they have a primary health issue, they want to get dressed, maybe the kid has the sniffles, they come back here, we avoid it becoming pneumonia. They have a dispensary less than a mile down the road, and they're building a full-scale clinic 2 miles down the road, because I think it's a more intensive treatment than just the quick diagnostic part of it. We hope to be able to open it up to the entire community very shortly after. They just want to show the need of the people who are coming in for housing services first and foremost. They'll be here those 2 days a week, and then public health will be here at least once a week, every so often, to do immunizations, flu vaccines, and vaccines for school, stuff like that, to have had that offered as well. Anyone who cannot cover the cost of their appointment here is covered by Home First. The vaccines, though, I think are all going to be free through public health if they have funding for that already. But this is their exam room, as you can see, because we have one from this cabinet that just went in today. And Good Sam's going to bring in their exam table, all their equipment, and then out there is actually the triage room, so we can have an easy workflow to get people out of the waiting room, and then identify the need, answer the confidential health questions here in a secure setting, and then brought back here to exam. And this is all quick clinic, so 10, 15-minute appointments, in and out, in and out, in and out. Get people on their way and on their way to better, happier healthcare.
And so somebody comes in, they have something like a pneumonia or something that they would be transported from here to a better facility, like a hospital.
Whatever Good Sam decides to do, if they say that we need to call 911, they're going to make that call. If somebody comes in, so we'll be doing training with staff up front, we Home First staff, on specific things we're looking for from a number of our partners, and if we see certain identifiers, then we'll put certain protocols in place. And if we see somebody coming in who clearly looks incredibly ill from pneumonia-like symptoms, we're going to give a mask and have some procedures. We have to work that out with the partners, but there'll be certain things we're going to look for up front before they come back here. They're just saying, oh, you have health? We'll just sit here and we're going to see what happens.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, cool.
So, I didn't mention when I walked through it, but this will be the second to last time that any of you walked through that double door we just walked through. The reason for that is first and foremost the safety and security of the guests in the shelter. It's also unfair to people who we may not be able to serve in shelter out here who are waiting to receive services to see what's back there. But the other reason is that this room is for our mental health partner, Viewpoint Health, and Navigate Recovery for substance abuse services as well. And what may be talked about in this room, what may be remembered in this room, can have some very severe traumatic effects. So when a guest is in our shelter and they're receiving services or talking to either one of those partners in this room, they have to exit the shelter through the double doors, walk around the facility, come out our front door, and then re-exit and re-enter. The reason for that is because that allows the mind to keep what was said here in this room and not have it follow them 55 feet back to the bedroom, which would reset our entire process here. If all we did was open that door and let them walk through, it would follow them back and it would reset all the progress we're making on that end. So that physical exit and re-entry has a very big purpose to our programming, but it also allows us to make sure that the safety, security, and privacy of our guests are secured at all times as well. Navigate will be here 5 days a week, which is simply incredible. They will be in this room for the most part and also in our co-working space. But because of what they do and Viewpoint do in this space, it has the most significant view of our wonderful courtyard. which would be, like I said, redone very shortly. It's absolutely attractive now with this wonderful blood brown, but in about a month's time it will all be redone and it will look absolutely gorgeous and really be a nice focal point for people as they're discussing these different things with them and kind of going through what they may be afflicted with or what they're currently trying to stay in recovery of. So we're excited about that partnership, about what this room will mean to the overall community and to the people we're trying to serve day in and day out as well.
So access to the courtyard will be only.
Yeah. Only there.
Awesome.
So, this is our co-working space. We're going to put 3 cubicle units along this wall, a small little conference room table, and then this entire wall behind us will be covered in a clear dry erase board paint to allow for us to do strategic thinking and planning. A lot of people who are in the community, say you're a nonprofit who's got 2 or 3 meetings in Norcross that we have 3-hour break in between, and you want to go to a place to use free Wi-Fi, we'll have that here for people to utilize. Go to Starbucks, be a wonderful vendor, partner to our neighbor down the street, get your coffee, come here and do work for free in a nice quiet setting. The ultimate goal for this space is that people who work from home in the private sector, who may just hear free Wi-Fi co-working space and say, I need to kill 2 or 3 hours of work. They come in here, they bust out their emails, they do whatever they want to do and have no idea what we do here at all. At the end of the day, over the time here they say, okay, this was great, but I tell people walking all the time, what are you doing here? And as soon as they ask that question, we have a bunch of volunteer support or donor for a very long time. It's about breaking down barriers, reducing stigmas and NIMBYisms, simply having a co-working space in a facility like this that's serving homelessness as its primary need. Not to mention also gives our wonderful nonprofit partners a place to come, not just meet, but also have a place to work off-site if they're in the middle of doing something. Because I know I have certainly bugged many of our partners about asking them to borrow a desk for a couple hours when I've been in the area and haven't been able to get back to my office. So we want to kind of add it to this location. We're excited about this room. The potential could have. Actually, gun free zone at the moment. The sign's just not posted.
Yeah.
So
Just making sure.
this room and next to the exact same room, they're called our navigation offices, where the actual magic happens to talk about with the system. They're very plainly set up. It's a desk, a chair, 2 chairs for adults in the household, and then a kids corner, which is just a toy chest and a couple of paths for them to play on. This entire process has to take 45 to 60 minutes at max. Just come in, do this what we call vulnerability index, and get them to a referral point and out the door to get the next one in. If it takes any more time than that, then we're not going to be able to get enough people through the process to keep all the beds filled, but also make sure we know how much the need currently is. And we know from the day one when we open, we're going to have more people here than we can possibly do assessments in a day. That is kind of part of the design that we have to acknowledge and know that, so we know what the true scope of the need looks like. The reason we have a kids corner set up twofold. One is that the assessment is all conversational, it's not Q&A. So if we do not have the full attention of the head of household or both adults when they're here talking, they may not give us the response that we need to appropriately identify their vulnerability, which could hurt their prioritization to get services. So we need their full attention. Kids being occupied helps out a lot with specific toys. The other part is borrowed from the EMT's trauma-informed approach, process, and protocols. Kids experiencing traumas when they go through a car wreck or a fire often get a stuffed animal. When a kid attaches to one of our toys, which is why I asked for those new toys earlier, they can take it with them when they leave. Again, everybody leaves something in their hands, whether it's a blessing bag, a toy, a book from the library, or hopefully a referral every time there was some kind of a service. That happens in this room as much as anywhere else. So if a kid attaches to a puzzle, it's got 1,000 pieces to it, they leave with the puzzle and maybe it has 1,000 pieces still in it, but we'll see. But that's kind of part of the approach and the way we want to be able to make sure we can do things, because we certainly can't guarantee housing for everybody when they walk out this door, but we can guarantee they're going to have something in their hands when they leave, and that's an important part of our process. So this room and the next room are the exact same. We're going to see if we can walk into the front, and then that will be
And what is this room over here?
director's office.
Oh, director's
Top
office.
of that. So this is the front waiting area, obviously, when people come in from the front parking lot into the facility. Have our wonderful admin up here and the work they're doing to kind of help sort paperwork and get people kind of started in the process. Guest restroom, and then our director for the assessment center is actually right here in the front. Their primary job is to oversee the entire physical facility and then the operations for just the assessment piece itself. They are also in charge with de-escalation. This is a very stressful period in people's lives. If you come in here looking for help and you get told it may be an hour or 2 hours to be seen, you may not be happy with that, and that's perfectly acceptable. The director's job is to be able to step out in the very front and be visible and be able to de-escalate and deal with that, In addition to that, the director, the admin, myself, and anybody who works for us is all trained up to be able to do the vulnerability index assessment. So if we need to go to an overflow protocol and get everybody doing it, we can use whatever room's available in the entire facility and get people assessed a little bit faster through that process. And the entire concept is mobile, so you can do it from a tablet, you can really do it from a phone, but you can do it from a tablet or a laptop. You don't have to have a desktop computer in front of you to do it.
That's awesome. So no physical paper, all digital?
No, all digital. So the director is the second most important person in this building behind the admin. The admin is air traffic control. When I walk into this building, so I won't be housed here, and I ask the admin, I'm going to ask them who is in what room and how long will they be there for. And that is their job to understand. They have to know where every person is in this facility at all times, whether it's in the navigation offices, the clinic, the mental health space, the shelter, or the community space. So that's why their job's not focused on de-escalation. That's not what they're kind of here to do. They're here to keep tabs on what's going on in the facility at all times and make sure we know at any time something that happens, that we can quickly respond and make sure we know where people are so we can get them into or out of any areas they need to be in. They need to be out of it. They don't need to be there. So we think we'll do about 2,000 people a year through this facility, give or take, which will easily, hopefully, be about the need of here in Norcross. But we do know, and any of our partners can tell you this, that we do not have the capacity and the system to meet the total level of that need. We have a lot of work to do in capacity expansion. We have a lot of work to do with our partners to find new resources and bring them to us so we can begin to really expand this. But we're really excited about where we're heading and where we're going with this. And it's only through the partnerships and what they're going to be doing every day on the ground here and in their locations that this is successful. So if we just had this and that's all we were doing, it would just be another piece to a puzzle, but we're hoping to really complete the pie between us and our partners and how we're kind of approaching it.